I just wanted to provide an update on my content, the direction of my channel, and where I see myself going, all the little things. Because to be honest, I've been going down a rabbit hole with politics at the moment, and that's not something I don't want to be a political commentator. That's not my plan. I'm not interested in being some sort of like news station. It's just I get caught up in injustices. And you can go down a rabbit hole with that. You can really just things can really trigger, and you'd be doing content after content. And then you look at the recent videos I've done, and it's like one after another, just constantly commenting on what Trump's done next, what's happening in politics, and it's like, again, that wasn't the plan. And I'm someone that's very self-reflective. So look, if you was to go down a path of being a political commentator, for instance, all you're ever doing is living in the shadows of someone else, just constantly reacting to everything they do, and your life is just constantly following their whatever they're doing. So for me, it's like I don't care how big or small someone is. I'm not in anyone's shadow. So the idea that I'm commenting on someone else's path, decisions, and habits, everything they do, it's like that's not for me at all. I've got bigger things, bigger goals for myself than live that life. Um, and also, sometimes I get a little bit fed up because I just think it's not for me to always show people like corruptions and things. I think people need to start seeing it for themselves. I had, again, to put it into context of what I'm saying there, I had a job I left back in 2023, and I was often at loggerheads with the management, even directors, like really high up people. It's a massive company because I was one of the only ones, really, eventually the only one, who had the balls to speak up when things weren't fair, when things weren't right, and there was an issue. I did, because I don't. If anyone knows me, I don't care how small someone is. I don't care how big someone is. We're all equal. So I don't put up with disrespect, and I don't put up with things like that. It triggers me a lot. And I don't care if I have to walk away from something. So if I don't care if I'm going to walk away from something, I really don't care what someone maybe who's considered more important than me thinks of my opinion on a situation. It's like I'll say it. If you don't like it, I don't give a shit. You know. But if I'm not going to stay quiet on things that bother me. But anyway, so I had a few issues, and it was like there was other issues surrounding the job from a physical aspect. And I had meetings with HR. So I was with my manager and HR. And it wasn't, the meeting wasn't to do with like some of the things I'm having to talk on and having to, because people would come to me all the time at work. Like I would have been off. Let's say I was on holiday, I come back. I'd have the entire, like, weren't a huge workforce on the side of the business that I worked. Maybe there's about 10 of us. But that means all of them, while I'm on holiday, had issues that was mounting and mounting and mounting. It was just building, and it was getting to the point where everyone wants to burst, but no one has the confidence to do anything. Even supervisors, they would know of these things, but even they didn't get involved. Everyone's self-preserving effectively, and I'm someone who they know will say something if it bothers me enough. So I come back from holiday or time off, and I'd have people, to one person after another, just come to me and tell me about the issues that are going on at the moment. And again, it's like I don't deal with disrespect. And if something was agreed, then it shouldn't be taken away. So, one of the things that was happening was, apparently they started to remove a break time that we had, and they were going to start monitoring certain things. But we was already getting the work done, and this was an environment that wasn't fit for purpose. It's a warehouse business. It's a warehouse, so it's logistics for a massive company. And it was a small force. It was a newish build. So they were just making things in-house, really, the logistics side of things. And, we was good at what we do. We're like experienced. So we're forklift drivers. We're doing different things, various different forklifts, not just one, So we're just getting jobs done. We're doing it. But in the winter, this place was freezing. We had to work outside, had to work inside. But when you're inside, all the breeze and the cold air it was just coming through the doors. There was no curtain or anything to stop that. And the door was open so often. So it was freezing cold in the winter. And in the summer, there wasn't enough ventilation. So we had that door, but there was no breeze. There's no air coming through it. It meant multiple different things. So my argument for that, because I was getting really agitated, because not being funny, it's freezing cold. You can't expect people to be in that environment continuously. We need a break from it. People in cold store environments, they get breaks. It's not much different to that. With freezing, you're operating a forklift. Okay, I've got a jacket on sometimes. Get your trousers. When you operate a forklift in the cold, for instance, you're driving. So you're creating a breeze. You're creating wind. It's freezing air anyway. So you're actually freezing. So that's not keeping you warm. There's no heater on the thing either. Um, so my attitude with that was, we need that break time. You're taking something away from us that we actually need because you haven't given us the facilities to be able to operate efficiently and what I would consider safely. So we need the break. So why are you taking it away from us? So there was again, so people knew I was going to get triggered with that one. So just throw that at me. And then there was other things as well, I don't want to digress too far. I'm just showing an aspect of me. So the echelon of the company was such that I had my manager of the warehouse. Then you had an operations manager that was above him in the same building, and he oversaw everything within that side of the business. But he reported to the logistics manager or director. So it's getting further up the chain. This is a utility company, so it's a major utility company. So it kept going up, and we had a visit from the logistics manager, the one that's really high up. He's only like two off of about. If you look at this like family tree type thing, the hierarchy, you had the CEO, then you had someone else, and then this guy was quite high. It was not far off them, that level, So it was really, really, there's a lot of influence, a lot of money. Seemed nice enough. So they got everybody down. So people from admin, the ones up in the office, they were nice enough people. We had the drivers who drive the trucks, the lorries, they had to come in. And then there's us working in the warehousing side, driving the forklifts and doing the manual stuff. That we're all together and they're all talking. So my manager would say something, his manager would say something, and then the higher up person would say something. And everybody was just silent. And I just think this is just stupid. Like, why does everyone do that? They get so terrified. It's self-preserving. I don't. I'm standing there thinking, I've got something I want to say, so I just need them to shut up so I can put my hand up and say, I've got something to say. So obviously they open it up. A lot of time they do that. They really just don't want anyone to say anything negative, do they? So they said, has anyone got any questions? I have. And they said, okay. I said, well, I've been away for a while. I said, but I've come back and I found people are really not happy. And it's shocked me a bit. So I'm explaining it. And apparently, I'm looking at my manager's like, he's always said his mouth's gone dry and he's just looking at the floor. Everybody said to me after he was fuming. And so was his boss above him. But the other guy, he said, we'll look into that. Yeah, and we'll get back to you. So a few days later, we had a meeting, not with that guy. He'd already gone, left, whatever. He's big. He's got things to do with other sides of the business. And we had it in a room, my team and them. And they were trying to they said something. I can't remember what they said because I switch off. Because to be honest, I was speaking up on something that bothered me. And I'm sick and tired of fighting everybody's battles all the time. There's enough people in the workforce for people to speak up as well. Like, why must I be the butt of it? Why should I be the one that always does it because everybody else is scared all the time? It's not enough. It's getting self-preservation. So I end up putting, I wouldn't say life at risk to a degree, but I make my life unstable because I talk on issues that other people, maybe they agree with, but they won't butt an eyelid. So you're just standing there on your own, So we sit around the table and both managers looked at me and the higher one literally said, have you not got anything to add? You not got anything you want to say? I was like, no. I said all I had to say the other day. I said, if they want to say anything, they can. Because I reached a point where I thought, I've put us in this room. I've said what everybody was on everybody's minds. Now, if they want anything else and they want to say, and they've got an issue, they can speak. Because it went round, because I think it was after this later on, I had this HR meeting. It might have been before or after. It doesn't really matter. I think it was after, actually, the HR meeting, because it would have made sense. Because I'm someone that does learn. So I'm talking to the HR lady and I'm talking to my manager. It was a return to work thing. I was off with a back problem. And I come back. And I'm quite a frank, open person. So I was just having a conversation with both. And I just said, look, I get a bit fed up. That's what I said to him. I said, I get a bit fed up having to keep, having to take the weight of everybody else's problems on me. So I might come across as disruptive and a bit of a nuisance sometimes. But there's so many issues, and everybody comes to me with the issue, and of course that frustrates me because it's like this isn't fair, and then I'm the one that talks on it, even though it was someone else's problem to begin with, and then I get a reputation as being the difficult one. And the HR lady one just said, like, but to be honest, like what you need to do is just like really just focus on your own things. If someone's got a problem, it's for them to deal with it. It's not for you to be their spokesperson. Yeah, you're thinking, yeah, like why am I doing this shit all the time? And the same applies to the content I do, the work I do here. Like, I don't care if people react to shit, but a lot of sometimes you walk away and you think, oh, that was a good video, I like that. But then it does send you down a path where life can get complicated because off the back of it, you know? I'm not scared to speak on anything that bothers me, and I don't regret anything I do. If I did, I would delete things, you know? I don't do that. But ultimately, the topics I talk on will make my life hard as a consequence, and I know that. And I don't really care deeply, but it's still not fair. So, for instance, something as simple as applying for, like, I don't care what America thinks of me in terms of like getting into the country and shit. If I can't get into the United States for the rest of my life, I really couldn't give a crap. It doesn't bother me. You know, if they can't handle like what I would call healthy criticism, you know, however people want to interpret it. If you just can't handle that to the point where you get petulant and say this person can't, we're not having them visit. It's like, well, if you're that weak, I can't give a shit. You know, I mean, I'm not beg to go in. I don't even know if I want to. But if you know what I mean, so I don't really care. But there's obviously going to be moments when you apply just for a basic job, and maybe someone does some background, and then maybe they see some of the things you talk about, and it's like, oh, well, he's too. Um, it can cause issues. Let's say that, because your political views and all these things. So effectively, if you're someone who doesn't cause a scene, you keep your views to yourself, you're going to have more opportunities, aren't you? Likely, you know, and that's just the way the world is. So when you actually have the confidence and the guts, I think, to talk about deep issues, you put yourself out there, it comes at a cost. And that's not particularly fair, I don't think, because I don't think we should all have to be submissive. So I'm not a submissive individual, but I am realistic. And like I said, it goes full circle to the point where I don't want to be a political commentator. I've got bigger things for my life than that. But things bother me in the life in the same way it bothered me in the workplace, and I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to shy away. I'm not going to sit there and think, oh, I better not talk about this. Or, oh, you know, I'm not so sure. I know what I want to say, and I say it. But there has to be a point where I say to myself, you've said enough on that topic now. Stop. Move on. Because I've got bigger things to do. But people might not realise, so they might see one side of me and just think that's it. I'd say talking about politics in general is probably about 10 to 20% of what I do, like my content. It's not the main focus for me at all. It's just something that I end up getting caught in because usually when you've got a topic that's so catastrophic sometimes, it just goes on and on and on. So I had things planned that I was going to do in a different video, but I can't even bother to go near it at the moment. And I don't think I will because, again, when you've got to stop at some point. And Donald Trump just doesn't stop creating reasons to create content. So I had a few videos I've just liked recently where there's people commenting on the things he's doing. And I was going to show examples of that and explain that this is what I'm seeing. So it wasn't a case I was necessarily seeing on that occasion things Trump had said directly. It was more what people are commenting on what he said. And that's where I am. You know, I'm honest with that. If I hear it myself, I'll say I heard it myself. If I hear it from someone else, I'll explain I heard it from someone else. And then people can just do what they want with it. But there's things he's doing, and there's more things I could be literally commenting on. And I had a few that I was going to list, but it's just I don't want to keep doing it because it's got to be an end. We're on the 18th of December. I've said all along, earlier in December, that come New Year, I might not. It's unlikely I'm going to be creating video content for 2026. Doesn't mean there won't be content, but it's not my priority. So once we're in 2026, my priority was never going to be video content. You know, again, doesn't mean it won't happen, but I've got 3 books on the go. I want to get my finances, I need to get improved, which means traditional work. But that's my focus going into the new year. I spend time with my daughter over Christmas. As soon as she goes back and she returns to school, goes back to her mum, my focus then is going to be sort my finances out, just get back into the workplace, And that's really where my head's at. And then get these books done as well. And that's where my time will be consumed. I'm not an octopus. I can't be doing this, this, this. I feel I've sacrificed 2025 to do video content, and I've done a lot of that. I've created multiple channels. I don't care about followers. I don't care about all the other stuff. It's just I do it because I have a passion for it, and some things are just a personal hobby, personal interest. The way I do my gaming channel, that's just personal for me. People like it, they like it. If they don't, I don't really care because it's for me to watch that content in years to come. I get to enjoy those games again when I don't maybe have time to play those games. Or maybe your hands slow down, who knows? But I still get to, I'm archiving games. That's for me. And I like doing the reading, so I do my reading books as well. I'm hoping it helps inspire people to be creative with the way they read, and maybe investing reading too. So it's for other people too, but even I enjoy watching it back and listening, and that's a good thing. So yeah, I'm not always so serious. It's just a lot. The world is quite a serious place at the moment, or at least my life is at this present period. So you don't get to see a light-hearted side to me at the moment. Whether any again, like my life isn't all about being in the public spotlight, and I don't want to live in the public spotlight. I see people who do live content, and they just their life is all just constantly live, 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 because they see the money they're getting from it. And some do a great job at it, but I always looked at that model and just thought, what happens when you decide to live a life where it's not like that? You want to slow it down because you might meet someone, you might have a relationship, you might have kids. You might not want to put it all in the spotlight. They might not want to be in the spotlight. So what are you going to do? Because all your money is tied to this lifestyle, and it's not. If you look at it, it's not something that's sustainable. I don't see how anyone can sustain an entire life of putting everything in the public domain constantly, where you have no privacy and no time to yourself. So you always have to be presentable to other people. That's draining. I don't see how that's sustainable. And the problem is people don't look to the future, so they just carry on down that path, not thinking, wait a minute, what happens when this comes to an end? So they don't prepare for it, and it's like, it's inevitable. So it's not a life I want for myself personally. I want to be able to turn things on, turn things off. So I'll record when I want to record. I'll stop when I don't want to stop. Part of the reason for this video is to show people, though, that the plan was always to go in the new year, because I wouldn't want to maybe you make a controversial video as your last one, which wasn't planned, and then you stop creating content for a while. People might think, oh, something's happened to them, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, not really. I'm just doing my own thing. I don't want to make announcements every 2 minutes. But I just wanted to provide a bit of context, really. If I see a problem in the world, I naturally want to fix it. So I naturally want to draw attention to it in the same way I do in workplaces, in the same way I do every area of my life. So politics is no different. But some things it's like eternal, it doesn't stop. Same way I've just said about the people who do the live streaming. It will come to an end at some point, but they don't know when to stop. But it's the same when you comment on politics or societal issues. There's always another issue. So is it really my responsibility to raise awareness of everything that's happening? Or should people just open their own eyes and start investigating themselves? And that's what I think. So I think I've opened the door to it, and then it's up to people to open their eyes or keep their eyes shut. But it's not for me to keep pounding at the issue, People know my issues or my opinion on Trump. Once someone shows you enough of who they are, they can't make you then see a different side to them. So regardless of whether I talk about Trump or I don't talk about Trump, it's quite obvious that I hate the guy. I don't like him. I don't like what his values. I don't like what he stands up for. I don't like his corruption. He has no integrity, no morality. And that's how I think about him. And that's not going to change. So whether I say it again or I don't say it again, that's what I think of him. And again, I'm saying it here now. I don't care. So me not creating content on a certain subject or topic isn't me shying away. It's just I've got better things to do than live in the shadow of Donald Trump. Because ultimately that's all it is. If you're constantly commenting on them and following what they're doing, it's like that's all we're ever doing is marching to his drum. He gets to create the chaos. We get to follow and comment on it. He then creates. We then follow. You end up not doing anything for yourself. No. I've got bigger goals. So I'm going to just go and create what I'm doing and continue my legacy. There's no way I'm just following that circus. So it's going to create a lot of shit. And there's going to be times when I think, oh, I could talk about that. But then it's like, there's plenty of resources out there for people to find that information. And I think it's up to people to start looking now and figuring it out for themselves. Because I'm getting a bit sick and tired, of my life being on hold to a degree while I keep doing all these things. It just gets tiring because I'm thinking I want my life to move forward, And And like I say, I always view things as you do things for a period of time, and then you can move on to something else, and you can do something for a period of time, and you can move on to something else because it's not for me to continually repeat a pattern. You know, hopefully that's made some semblance of sense. But reality is, we're on like the 18th of December, and I say I'm going to leave by the new year. Once I'm with my daughter, I don't plan. So I'm going to have my daughter for the Christmas holidays. It's literally maybe in a few days. Let's say 4 or 5 days now. I don't know what day from. Communication's a nightmare with her mum. But let's say from the 22nd of December. Well, where I keep saying from New Year, the videos are going to slow down or even stop for a period of time, and maybe a substantial period of time. It's likely to be from the moment our time commences, because I have her for the whole holiday period. So although it technically would say New Year, I don't have any intention of recording videos while I have my time with her, because there's more important things in this world, and having that time together, just chilling out, enjoying ourselves it's like a highlight of my holiday, like my year. So I have no interest in doing the videos while that happens. So realistically, there may be a few more videos before then, there may not. But this could be the last video that I actually record for a while. Now, I keep saying that and do something else, but I'm finding self-control because I notice that I lose so much time myself, and I'm sure other people do and they don't realise. Days get away from me sometimes, and I get frustrated because I'm exhausted, but then you think, what did I do? And you think, okay, I did this, but there's so many hours that went unnoticed. Maybe you're just consuming too much social media, you don't even realise it. It's just continuing. But you lose time to this, and this, and this. So, yeah, I mean, I could comment on this, and I could do a video on that, and I could do this on that. But then it's like, I could also be just relaxing. I could relax and create other stuff and just find a different way to manage my days. It doesn't have to be that I do the same thing in the same way I've done it. I can adapt and I can alter it. And like I say, I think I've done enough content realistically where I can have a period of time off, and I think it's perfectly acceptable. And I actually think it's going to be a level of self-control and mastery of self, a challenge to me to not create content. So although it'd be a lot easier for me to create content because it comes effortless to me, it takes a lot more control not to. So if there is a period here where I don't create content, recognize that that's come from self-control. That's come from me mastering myself and testing myself. So yeah, look, on the face of it, it might not look like that, but that's literally what it is. For me, it takes a lot of control to not do that. Then it creates a habit and a pattern, and I'll be more than content with that going through next year, just focusing on finances to a degree, because my finances has been hard for a long time, and I just want nice things for myself now, better quality of life. I want to be able to have travel. I want to have holidays. I want these books finished now, so that I'm excited to do that. Reason I haven't finished it this year, I could have done. I could have started. I could have really focused at the beginning of December to get them finished and at least one released. I knew it wasn't going to get done before I see my daughter, and I didn't want to feel frustrated because I can get like that. If I'm working on a project and something's in the way, even if that, like for instance, spending time with her is everything, part of me still yearns to continue the process of working on. I can't do two things at once. So I can't work on the book and I can't while I'm trying to enjoy my company with her, and just relax. So I knew that was going to cause havoc. And sometimes when you have blips like that, it's hard to get back into the same pattern you had before. So let's say there was momentum for 2 weeks and the intention was spend a week or so together or 10 days, whatever it works out at, and then go straight back into the book after. A lot of time it doesn't work like that. A lot of time the momentum's lost and you start doing something different. So what I wanted for myself was have a plan in place. And that plan in place was you can do the videos leading up to the Christmas period because that's easy enough. We can just do that. Then when New Year comes, already set the idea in motion. It's almost like a New Year's resolution, if you like, but I don't really call it that. I just set a plan for the year. Like I just come up with an idea and I say, well, that's the plan. And I've already announced it. So as the January comes in, I know immediately, right, focus is improving finances. Bosh. We're going to just throw ourselves into finding something that's viable for me that I can enjoy, I can do, and it brings the money in. In traditional work, that'd be fine. And then in the interim, in the evenings, in the weekends, whatever it is, between working hours, whatever that working hours is, I can focus on getting these 3 books finished too. And I think that'd be a good year for me. I'll be happy with that. I've done the videos. Don't need to do another 1,000. Don't need to do another 500. There's enough there. I'm happy. By that point, I may still come along and do the random reading video because I want to build that channel up because I like it for me too. I think the gaming channel is going to slow down a lot now. I've put a lot in over the last 2 months or a month and a half, been a lot of videos, and I'm realizing it's burning me out now. So I'm going to slow down with the gaming stuff. I'll still game in my spare time, but not as much. Again, it's about finding that control now. It gets obsessive, and it's like that's not healthy because I'm always exhausted, which then affects my sleep. So when am I actually more comfortable? If I chill out a little bit more and I just watch telly instead and things like that, I find myself more relaxed. Even though if you ask me what I prefer gaming, but gaming's intense. Gaming's it just doesn't stop. It's constant. It's a constant loop, and I'm exhausted as a consequence. So why would I want to continually be exhausted? Like really truly exhausted? I wouldn't. It's okay. Then I need to manage my time more, and I've started making allowances for this. So I say, right, this instead of having a broad spectrum of games because I have a lot, I'm going to narrow it down. So I have specific ones. So if I want to play a game, I know exactly what I'm going to play, and then I can just go straight into it, even if it's an hour or two. At least it's a committed hour or two. You haven't lost a whole heap of time in between trying to figure out what you're going to do, mess about watching YouTube videos, match about doing it. You lose so much time, and ultimately you didn't even play it that long, and you just lost the whole window around it. So if I can be more um, accountable of time, I think I can do it. I can get a lot done, and I won't feel frustrated. But yeah, the videos. Look, the videos. I enjoy doing the videos though, but it always stops me. If I do the videos, the books will always get delayed. That's a reality because it just becomes instead of writing in my books, I do a video. Instead of writing in my books, I do a video. It's just alternate means, different media. No, I want next year to be all about my books. So they're gonna get done. Hopefully we get all three done next year, but that's not the plan. The plan it always is one. I'm expecting more than one though, really, with the sacrifice that's going into it. I think at least two, and we'll see how deep into the year that second book takes me as to whether we can get a third one out. Yeah, and I'm not someone again. I'm not someone that wants my private life always in the spotlight. I don't know where my life takes me. I'm not looking to date. I have no plans for dating. You never know when you meet someone. And me being in a relationship would be a private thing. I'm not looking to broadcast everything every 2 minutes and try to validate this shit to people in this part of it. And I wouldn't expect everybody to want to be in the spotlight. So I'm more than happy to do what I do, talk about in whatever way I choose to. But then there's like a private side to our life as well. Anyway, hopefully that's made some sense. I don't want people to think, oh, look at him running away. It's not. I would never plan to be a political freaking commentator. It's not my. I could do. I mean, I could easily do that. Create a news channel myself. I think I'll be quite good at it. Yeah, it might rile people, but then when does the news not rile people? There's always going to be people on different sides of a spectrum, isn't there? So I'm not really bothered about that. But I just have bigger goals for myself than just be a commentator on someone else's life because that's ultimately what it is. So all the news is reporting on what other people are doing. Well, why don't we focus on what we're doing? So let's get doing things. So, like I say, I could sit there and comment on Trump for the rest of my life and the rest of his life. But then what am I achieving? All my videos and content, everything I do is just focused on him. So then where's the thing that focuses on me? Oh, well, I'm not following that. I'm doing my thing. And then my plan is already set in stone. I've already set it apart. That's my plan for the year. And I think it's a good plan. I spent a year doing videos. I'm happy with that. For that, we got the 6 books. So 6 books. I did videos and things around that. And there's been a lot of growth. Then I spent a year just focused solely on videos. And then I think I also did audiobooks earlier in the year as well. You forget about things like that. I think back in the spring, I think I did about 3 audiobooks as well. And I've refreshed some of them. So yeah, I've definitely got things. It's been progress for sure. And I think that's worthy. And then next year, maybe people can catch up on the videos that are already created and we'll get potentially up to another 3 books released here with this lot. And then I've still got other books beyond that, by the way. I've got other ideas that I've already started. It's concepts at earlier stages, but it still works. So don't end here. And I've also got ideas for novels and things that I want to play with in the future as well, but I need the time for that. And again, I think detaching from video content would allow me to explore it in a very, very exciting way. I could truly delve into that and just throw a thing into it. Because at that point, let's say in 5 years' time, I decide, right, I'm going to throw myself into a novel for a few years. For me, that would be truly exciting. That genuinely. But for me, it doesn't have to happen. It's not a goal that I go, oh, I won't be excited. I wouldn't feel fulfilled if I didn't do it. No, it's fine. I don't mind either way. But if I want to, that'd be cool. Because look, at some point, there's going to be so many books. There's enough there for people to consume those books, and hopefully it helps improve their lives. It makes them reflect on things. And likewise, the videos are there too. So it wouldn't be a case of I'm needed to be seen all the time, is it? I can go and explore something else because I've put so much time and effort into this over a period of time that I've now got the freedom to do something else. That's pretty cool. Anyway, this is the update. I don't want to keep rambling. I don't want to go any further. I could talk forever, and there's always an angle I could talk about here, I could talk about there. Like I say, I had things planned that I was going to do a video on Trump further, but I was like, I can't bother to follow this guy anymore. Because American politics isn't necessarily my issue. That's the thing. Again, we talked about go back enough. It's just talk about things that are not necessarily my issue in my own personal life. What happens with America and Venezuela that doesn't really influence me. I'm in the UK, so it doesn't really affect me in the UK. Maybe it'll affect oil prices and things like that. But I'm not someone who's ignorant of the world. I don't think, if it doesn't affect my day, then it doesn't matter. Of course it matters. Hence why I talk about it. But it's not for me to talk on everything all the time. I think personally there should be more people, and there is plenty of people, so I'm not saying people aren't. But if anyone in America saw my content, for instance, and they had an opinion on it, whatever way, it's like maybe they're the ones that should be creating content on it, speaking up about their own society, their own governance, their own politics. Shouldn't really be from someone from the outside having to reflect it back to them. There's an issue in your life, freaking be prepared to express it. Have some courage. Challenge the status quo. But anyway, yeah, I'll do it in different ways. The books will come out. Like I said, the next book's spiritual. We've got a spiritual one. We've got personal growth is next. There's 3 of them have been personal growth already. Heal your mind, free your soul, inspire your mind to enlighten your soul, and find your peace to save your soul. They're personal growth. Next one's personal growth. Then the one after that will be the spiritual one. So it'll be the follow-up to losing your mind to find your soul. Then the third one will be one on society and politics, which will be a new one for me. But it'd be in a similar vein to the personal growth books. I don't think it's not going to be entirely political. That bore me. So I'll communicate in a way that I find is interesting. It's not going to be some sort of weird book that's boring as shit. It's just my take on things, really. Now I see the world, whether people like it or not. Anyway, that's where I'm up to.